You're good. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting. Thank you for being here. We're going to get started this evening. I've asked Chief Robbie Russo, one of my favorite people, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you're able. I pledge allegiance. Thank you, Chief. The next item on our agenda, once a month, we give the city council 3 minutes to talk about some of the initiatives, some of the councils and or committees that they're working on. I know this is a more quiet time of year where committees aren't meeting every month, but we'll give them as much time as they want today to give us an update. So we're going to start with Council District 1 and Councilmember Matt Holton.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to talk to you about Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling real quickly. So you can request pickup for your trees, WFWRD, Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District, utah.gov. If you have a real tree, you can put a request in there and they will come pick it up after the season is over. So that is something that is offered. Speaking of offerings, had a long conversation with the new director over the district. And one of the things that we've been focusing on are ways in which we can reduce costs to avoid for years and years to come having to raise fees. So if there are any residents who want to talk about some of the offerings that the district provides, I'd be more than happy to chat about it. For instance, last council meeting, I announced to everybody that there are leaf bags that you can pick up as far as the leaf bag drop off and pickup that they have later in the year. But those leaf bags by themselves cost the district about $34,000 to provide. So one of the things that we thought is, look, you're not providing trash bags for people's trash. You're providing the service of pickup. It might be something that we need to look at of should we be spending $34,000 to also just provide a leaf bag. But some of the other things are, for instance, we are getting rid of the trailer rental program. We were subsidizing that program pretty heavily. So what we've decided to do is cities are able to utilize that trailer rental program for community cleanup. If there are certain groups, for instance, Parks, Trails, and Open Space did a park cleanup and they were able to rent a trailer. So that is still going to be accessible. We were charging $700 less than the market rate for these trailers. And you end up looking at why you're having to raise these fees and it becomes an issue. Another thing that we're talking about is cleanup. With the scrap program where you reserve a trailer, I wanted this new director to look at curbside pickup, and there is the possibility that it actually might end up being a cost savings with the equipment that you use, the type of pickup that you have. So one of the things that they're exploring that when I first got elected, really wanted to try to bring back this curbside pickup. And with that, though, today, if you get a trailer rental, you can go get a landfill. If you don't get one, I apologize, you can go get a landfill voucher. And you can take that to any landfill, and it ends up costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to the district, when in fact, we probably should just be servicing everybody with one very efficient and expansive cleanup process in the spring or the fall. So we're looking at every possible fee, every possible program. Some things, for instance, like the leaf bags, may or may not make sense to continue. We're going to have that discussion so that we can provide a high level of service while not coming back to you in a year and raising your fees. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton. From Council District 2, we have Councilmember Suzanne Highland.
Good evening. I'm in that same situation. We haven't had a lot of committee meetings this month. So I wanted to just briefly remind everyone that we did agree to purchase a short-term rental compliance software, and that is currently being implemented. The goals of the software were to bring into compliance the properties that would be allowed under our current policy, short-term rental policies that are not currently licensed. We estimate that's a pretty high number based on the addresses that the Granicus gave us. And this process was presented to us as a seamless integration. And we thought we had all the right people in the room, and it turns out that there have been a few hiccups because of the payment system. And so I just wanted to report to everybody, we really are working on that. It was our goal to have it implemented and up and running with the 24/7 hotline and so many of the features of this compliance software before ski season started, but that's going to be delayed by a few months. It's in the works. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I do sit on the CH2 committee, and it's to my surprise, not very many people know that the Cottonwood Heights Rec Center released a master plan in November 2025 for the rebuild. The infrastructure is old and tired, and the master plan creates a lot of improvements that will benefit the community and address that aging infrastructure. And one of the key things that they talked to us about, and I'm glad they did, is the potential for a community and senior center on the east end of that rec center, the newly built rec center. So that's going to be in 2 phases. I would just encourage anybody who's interested to see what they're going to include and how they're going to address some of the challenges that they've had with this old building to reach out you can see that on the website and review it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Highland. From Council District 3, we have Councilmember Sean Newell.
I also did not have a lot of opportunities to meet with my different organizations. So I have nothing to report today.
Thank you, Councilmember Newell. From Council District 4, we have Councilmember Ellen Burrell.
I would like to use my 3 minutes tonight to look back over our shoulder and acknowledge what's gone on in this past year. It's been a challenging year. It's been a year of opportunity. And I'd like to acknowledge our city staff, our department heads, our new finance director, Reed. We've had Jim Spung join us as our Community and Economic Development Director, and we're excited about that. And all staff, civilian and all the police officers in that department. Our Chief Russo has continued to put in tireless hours around the clock, and I know because he answers my concerns on a Saturday, Sunday, or any day of the week. And so a lot of these things go unsaid and unsung. And so I want to make sure I acknowledge them. And I particularly want to acknowledge our mayor. Mayor Wickers has devoted himself to ensuring that we have a town center project that will be vibrant and that will be representative of what the people of Cottonwood Heights want. His service in that area has been extraordinary, and his leadership for the last 4 years is very appreciated. And I want to also acknowledge my council colleagues. Each one of them is, again, very dedicated. I've learned something from each and every one of them, and I'm very enthused about serving another 4 years. I want to acknowledge Sean Newell. He has performed the function of mayor pro tempore for the last 2 years. One of the things that I've learned as a council member, interacting with councils across Salt Lake County, is that it's rather usual to have different council members act in the role of mayor pro tem for short. And so I want my council colleagues as well as the public to know that as a senior council member, I am willing to take on that role should my council colleagues make that vote. That will be done next month, in the month of January. And I think it's going to be important to think about the amount of service that candidate has had, and the institutional knowledge is very important. We have had some shifts within city leadership in recent years. And so I just want to leave with that I would be willing to serve in that capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bro. So I'm going to use my couple minutes to just say some thank yous. First, I want to say thank you to our residents. We have unbelievable people that live in this city. After the election, I had multiple people that I've never met before, talked to, or seen that called me up in tears, to say, hey, thank you for serving. And I just thought to myself, it's unbelievable, the people go out of their way to try to make people feel better during tough times. And just the caring nature that we have in our city. It's unbelievable. I also want to say thank you to our council. These people sitting up here with me mean a lot to me. And I love every one of them. And I need to say thank you to the staff. I'm not going to name you all either, but we have an unbelievable staff. We have a city manager who is amazing as well. So, department heads, thank you, and I appreciate you. Okay. Goodness freaking gracious. So we're going to move on to item number 4, which is a citizen comment period. Excuse me. And we're going to invite first up Denise Tinney. Yeah. So just a reminder, I didn't read our disclosure, but it's a 3-minute period, and so when the buzzer goes off, we'll ask you to kindly finish your remarks if you haven't already. So thank you. Hi, Denise.
Hi. So I'm a US citizen, by the way. I am also a New Zealand citizen. So I am here because of the Mineshaft Road issue. I am one of 71 households who live on Prospector Hill. I understand, and I heard the comments from several of the councillors here. But what I'm saying is, if you could please just reconsider. I've lived in my home for 12 years, and since the traction days have come, it's caused a few problems within our household. My husband gets really cranky, and he now says to me, I don't even want to go up there anymore, because he goes, it's faster for me to get to Park City than to go up into my own, backyard. And I said to him, we've got other members here, or households, that are here tonight wishing that you would please reconsider. It's a nightmare getting out, even for me, just to go about shopping or things like that. The traffic is horrendous. There's road rage. People get really angry. They don't want to let you out. And Jerry's wife was actually confronted by a motorist who got really angry towards her. So what we're asking is a permit just to allow us to go right up the canyon, and I understand that, the police are doing their best, but for us to sort of like go back around, it's going to take us another 40 minutes, just to get into the line to go back up to the canyon. I just think common sense should prevail here. I don't think we're asking for much. And yes, we are unique where we live. And unless you come up to where our homes are, it's hard to explain. It is a unique area. We love it. Like I said, we've been there for 12 years. But we just need the council to sort of like just allow us on traction days to get up Big Cottonwood Canyon, if that's at all possible. But anyway, thank you. And I'm here for my husband. He's sick. He just got back off an international flight from the Czech Republic, and he couldn't come tonight, so I'm speaking on his behalf. But anyway, thank you and all the best.
Thank you, Denise.
And Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Jerry,
Good evening, everyone. Everyone
Jerry.
may know me or heard from me before. I'm here to talk about the same obvious issue. You know, we live in an area where when it's attraction day, it's not easy to get out of that neighborhood. It's just not. Last attraction day, last Saturday, I was directed to make the left when the police officer said, you have to go through the inspection, as he's looking through my window with the inspection sticker. So I make that left. I got to go down Fort Union, make the turnaround, come back through the intersection. And nobody inspected the vehicle, but that's another story. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It just doesn't. You know, we don't have a way, an easier way up the canyon. We can't take the buses because the bus, by the time it gets to that parking lot, is full. So is our option to leave the neighborhood and drive down Fort Union or drive down Wasatch to another parking area? Doesn't make a lot of sense either. We are not looking at we're not looking at any other exclusivity that some other neighborhoods get. You know, I live a half a mile from Ferguson Canyon, but I can't park on the street. But the people who live there have an exclusive ability to park on the street. If I go to the rec center, I can't park there on a Sunday in the summer because it's restricted to residents. Well, that's an exclusive restriction. We're not asking for a big thing here. We're asking for something that makes a little sense. You know, I could have been up that canyon at that first police stop, but rather it took me another 25 minutes to make the left, to make the turn, to come back, to wait through the 3 lights. What sense is that making? It's not serving any other purpose. You know, having a stop there for the neighbors to allow the neighbors to go through will speed it up. But like I said, we don't have any other option. If we wrap around to the bottom of Wasatch, good luck trying to get through that line of traffic. They will not let you through. And so it's almost like we're getting punished for where we live, for an exception that we don't feel is a big deal. But that's my comments. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jerry. The next comment card we have is for Mark Bauer. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mike. Hey, thank you all. As a citizen for the last, before Cottonwood Heights was a city, I appreciate being a resident and paying the taxes and having your ears to one of your residents. So I'm here, as my colleagues are, my neighbors are, for the same issue. I bought into a place up on the top of Prospector Drive, East Prospector Drive, and because I've loved it. I've loved the area, and we're big skiers for sure. We're also knowledgeable about the canyon, and we appreciate and support traction days. Absolutely. I've had the sticker since they've come out. I've got a 4-wheel drive. I've been driving the canyon for 50 plus years. I know what I'm doing. Okay, and I support the regulations and the common sense here. And I think that's the prevailing term here is common sense. Because for us, as we could show a driver's license showing where we live, there's approximately 71 homes up there. There's probably 20 people, maybe 15 people that will actually be skiers and go up on attraction day. They're not Bluebird skiers, okay? There's probably 5 on any given day that are actually gonna go down mine shaft, make a right-hand turn. 5 of us, you know, thereabouts. Those are my estimates. So this is not a big thing and easily implemented. Sticker, quick inspection, driver's license showing you where you are, go. There's 4 more maybe that goes up. We moved there for one of these reasons. It's not exclusivity, it's common sense. And part of common sense is safety. To make a right-hand turn with all of your permits and so forth to go up on attraction day is much safer than trying to make a left, to go west, to go find a U-turn area to turn around in traffic, to go opposite direction of where you're going. Makes no sense, and it's not safe. You could go up over to Wasatch Boulevard on South Prospector, and it's terrible up there. It's scary. There's 4 lanes of traffic, 50 miles an hour, and you can't get in. And again, I'm going opposite of the way. What makes common sense and for safety respects is give the few residents there that live there the right to go through with all of their credentials, driver's license, inspection, 4-wheel drive if necessary. We all have 4-wheel drive. It's just common sense in a safety sense. And we ask the council to revisit this and come up with a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Leslie Kovach. Hi, Leslie.
Good evening, City Council. My name's Leslie Kovach. You guys have seen me a lot here. We've talked about safety. Again, my neighbors and I are talking about safety. We need access to make a left up the canyon. Just watching what happens from my windows on a ski day is insanity. You tell my neighbors, 70 of us, maybe 20 of us want to make a left. The other 50 want to make a right. It'll be fine. But the difficulty to get out of our neighborhood at any point on a ski day is ridiculous. I would love to support the ski resorts, Brighton and Solitude, on a weekend. I can't. As my neighbors have said, it takes us 20, 30 minutes just to get out. I would plead with you to have our lovely police officers who we've delivered cookies to, coffee, and a few other things, for them helping us live in our neighborhood. I'm asking you to allow my neighbors, 70 homes, as Mark said, with ID and the sticker and a 4-wheel drive, to make a left out of our neighborhood. Right, sorry. Thank you, I'm dyslexic.
Left, right.
I'm just 6'7", man. I'm 6'7" it here. But please reconsider. This is important to us. This is not an exclusive privilege. You may think it is. You have not lived through a weekend with the skiers. So please help us out. Allow us some clearances to get out of our neighborhood. As you know, I complain all the time about Wasatch Boulevard and biking and walking. Ask me to do that on a ski day, that's insanity. Please reconsider, help us out. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. Okay, Jared, anything else we need to submit? I didn't see anything online. Okay, great. I'll go ahead and close the citizen comment period. We're going to move on to item number 5 on our agenda, and we're going to have our finance director, Scott Jurges, come up and give us a financial statement presentation for our 25 budget year.
I
What's
have
up,
this
Scott?
effect on people. I come up here and they leave, and it's holding true.
Only a couple, Scott.
I
Everybody
know,
else
only
stay.
a couple, but it always happens. All right. All right. Okay. Well, I'm here to present the financial statements from that we just finished actually literally today, putting all the different reports together into this PDF. This is reporting for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Our auditor was not able to be with us today, being the end of the year, and a lot of municipalities have similar things. He was triple booked tonight, and I said, don't worry about it. I can handle, talking about it and what have you. So I'll go through this. Now, just a note, we won't have this available and posted to our website for probably maybe up to a week. We're going to put some links in there from the table of contents down to different sections in it and things like that. It just makes it a lot more easily readable to different users and things like that. But we did finish it all up, and then we will be submitting it for the budget award with the GFOA. And so I wanted to mention that. Also wanted to mention that everyone knows Dave Muir retired in early September. And so Reed Sanderson and myself, really myself for the first time really getting heavily involved in it. I was peripherally involved in it, and Reed the first time him ever, being here at the city. So the first time him being involved in it, I was pleasantly surprised how well it actually went, having us work on this and getting through this. Reed's awesome and did a really good job and picked it up really well. And so I need to give him compliments on that. But I'll move forward. This, I've got it kind of zoomed in, and I'll go through a few different sections on this. So, whoops. I forget that I've got a PDF page and a actual page number. So our auditors are Larson and Company, certified public accountants, and their opinion of these financial statements is that there is no discrepancies or anything like that. They found it a clean audit. Audit speak is kind of weird, and they don't really say it like that, but that's what it in essence means, that there's no material misstatements and so on and so forth. There's actually 3 pages of things. They talk about some of the things that they went through, some of the standards that they check and verify as they go through this. And in this document that we post, it will all be made available so that you can go through and see all this. But anyhow, it's a clean audit. The actual financial statements, because there's some verbiage that goes before it, but the actual financial statements start on page 28 of the document or 34 of the PDF document. And it starts with our statement of net position. And we have to present our financials in a couple different ways. Some are by fund, how we're used to looking at things, how we budget and how we look at our revenues and expenditures. And others are a full accrual basis where we roll everything together. And the statement of net position is one of those statements where everything's rolled together and it's presented. And quite honestly, me looking at this, I can't make a lot of heads or tails sense of this and tie it back to the general fund. That's a very difficult task to do. So there's other reports that help me to understand better what we're doing. But just if you want to look at this, the total net position in the city is just about $66 million. And that's going to include a huge net investment in capital assets of $52 million. And that includes all of our roads, bridges, highways, parks, and everything else that we have in order to make our city run, including buildings. And, that there's a huge amount of that. And then we have some that's restricted for various reasons, for bond debt service, CDRA, and et cetera. But the reports that really start to be meaningful to me and hopefully to you happen on page 28 of the PDF, or sorry, page 30 of the PDF, which is our governmental funds balance sheet, where you can see by fund, general fund, capital projects, debt service, stormwater, and then the CDRA fund, and then with a total of all of our assets, our liabilities, our deferred inflows of funds, and then shows our different designations, if you will, whether it's a prepaid amount here that we have, or this is our reserve for compensated absences. And then you can see how much is available for appropriation or unassigned. And so $5.3 million or $5.1 million is available for appropriation. And of that, we need to keep about 6% of that in our reserve. So that's about 1.6 to 1.7 million, right in that range. So we have about 3.2 million available as of July 1. And then moving forward, we of course have adopted our budget this year with a use of some of that fund balance, moving forward. But this is a very helpful report for me when it gets to that. The other report right after this that's helpful to me is this report, which is basically an income statement. for each of our different funds. And it shows you the revenues coming in with the total revenues, and then it shows you the expenditures going out in the various ways and functions, as well as transfers are outlined down here. And then it shows you the exact same thing coming up to our ending fund balance of $5.9 million, as well as our beginning fund balance. And these two reports are, to me, the most helpful reports, especially when it comes to budgeting and understanding how our budget ties into these things, and that. The full accrual reports are, I guess, helpful in a comparative basis, but they really don't help me a lot. Just my personal 2 cents as I throw that out there. Moving forward, if we go down to this page, so this is page 72 in the document. It's actually page 66 in here. You can see for the general fund, our original adopted budget, our final adopted budget, the change that we made in our budget throughout the year, our actuals throughout for the year, and then our variance from the actuals to our final budget. And this also is a very helpful report as you go through. It's historical, but it's still helpful to see kind of what we did in the past, what happened, where our money went, and so on and so forth. And you can see that that ties back down to the $5.9 million of fund balance there. Now, because of the structure of how we're required to do in reporting, this report falls a little bit before the other funds, and so we have to skip up to page 82 of the PDF, or I thought it was 82, 81. Sorry, net service fund. Get to the right one here. Sorry, I was making my notes at the time. So 80. Sorry, I put 82. It was 72. We can see the same report of our original adopted budget, our final budget, any changes that we made in our budget throughout the year, and then our actuals with the variance on, our actuals to our final budget amount. And so this is the CDRA fund, and then you'll see that it's in here for the stormwater fund, and then it's in here for the capital projects fund here, and then finally for the debt service fund. And so you can see kind of and track that on through as we go through to see what's going on in our different funds, and so on and so forth. And don't be alarmed in our debt service fund that we went from a $13 million fund balance down to a $422,000 fund balance. That was using our escrow funds to pay off the 2014 and 2016 bonds. So that was designed to be that way. Some other things that I'd like to just show is on page 84, which is just a couple pages down. We start our statistical section, and this is pivoted the wrong way, and our final one will pivot it the right way so it shows up when you see it. But we have 18 charts in here that show historical basis, usually for 10 years. So this report goes from fiscal year 2025, the most recent being on the left, down through 2016, and shows how we tracked through the different years. So you can kind of see the historical basis of where we were, where we are, and so on and so forth in a lot of different categories. Some of it's financial. The first few reports are financial as we go through here. Some of it, like this one here, shows our taxable values. So you can see back in 2015, our residential taxable value was $3.8 billion. Now it's $8.66 billion. So you can kind of track a lot of things through here that can be helpful. There's all kinds of data as you go down through here, from employment data and everything else. And all that's really good. Moving down, let's see, I'm going to flip down to page 105. So this is the section where the extra reports from Larson are that they're required to do that are outside the bounds of what is traditionally your financial statements. Financial statements are outlined and governed by GASB, which is Government Accounting Standards Board. And they say this is what belongs in a financial statement. And then there are other reports that are due to other reasons, such as state compliance and other things like that. So these reports show here that there's an independent auditor's report on internal controls over financial reporting. And this one is actually due to the government auditing standards. So it's different than government accounting standards, it's government auditing standards. And then the second report that they're required to do is independent auditor's report on compliance and internal control as required by state compliance audit guide. And so they have to give an opinion about these things, and they outline what's going on in their reports and everything. There were no significant findings, material findings is how they actually term it as they go through that. And then the last item that's required, and this is a state requirement, and I think we've talked about all these, but I'll go over them again, is if there were any findings on any level throughout the year, certain ones have to be reported, and there were 2 findings, and I think we talked about them. The first one was cash management. So on the Utah Money Management Act requires us to make deposits within 3 working days after 3 business days after we receive those funds. We don't get a lot of cash. Literally some days we get $5 worth of cash. Most everybody pays with a card or a check, cards being the most predominant. So what was going on is the week's worth of deposits were being held and taken in typically once a week. And so we were technically in violation of that, but the overall dynamic of that, it was maybe $100 wasn't being deposited on time. And you can see the recommendations from the auditor, and then the client comment is our comment about what we found in this matter. But just so you know, it's been addressed, and we now deposit twice a week, usually on a Wednesday and a Friday, maybe on a Tuesday and a Friday, just so we can be in compliance with that to make sure that we're not doing anything that would cause a finding in the future. The other item that we found, and we talked about this a little while ago as well, is that we received some very late invoices related to fire hydrant maintenance that we were concerned about the amount, and we tried to go back and say, no, we don't think it should be this high, so on and so forth, and we weren't successful in arguing that back down. So we had to pay those, and our budget was not sufficient enough to be able to cover that amount. And so we did exceed our budget in the public works area as a result of that overage. Overall in our budget, we were under, but because we report our budget as general government, public safety, public works, and then community and economic development, because it was one of those areas that was over, we have to report this as a finding. We knew it was kind of potential, and then when it finally happened, it was after the period of time when we could have made adjustments and things to be able to cover for that. And so we did not make any adjustments, and so we have that. Those are the only 2 findings that we had throughout the year, and so I'm actually happy with where it sits, and I think it's a good representation of where we are as a city. I don't know if there's any questions that you all might have or that I might be able to answer or anything, so.
I know, I was trying to do my little undercover Michael Jackson. But I really appreciate the work that goes into putting this together and working with the auditors. You 2 are phenomenal, and it just gives us a nice little place to go to really see where the dollars are being spent and where we can help improve certain areas. Thank you.
Yep, and I would add to that and say thanks for your oversight and all that you do to keep us financially sound. Thanks,
One
Scott.
question regarding the fire hydrants. Remind me how much that was.
So we ended up with 2 invoices of both of them were right around 130,000. I can't remember the exact amount right now. It's a little out of my mind. But that was.
And that's 130,000 more than we had planned on.
It was 130,000 each, and we had planned on one invoice for about 35,000. And so we were about 100,000 over for one and fully over on the second one.
I'll ask him where that invoice went to, Matt.
Yeah.
You mean
Oh,
where we
but-
paid? I know
Yeah.
that's what's so frustrating. So do we think that this next year is that, I mean, who knows? I guess
Yeah.
is the point.
Well, so we actually talked about it earlier today, and we believe that our budget is set at the proper amount. We added 125,000 to the budget to cover this for the next year. So adding to the 35,000 that was in there, give us, somewhere $160,000. We should be okay. with what's coming. We have not heard, definitively that this is the amount that's coming or not. And I haven't seen that invoice yet. We might shortly after the first part of the year, new year. So we'll see. Yeah. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
mhm.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 6 on our agenda, which is our 8 legislative action items to consider as a council. We'll begin with item 6.1, consideration of ordinance 455, adopting a supplemental name for a street segment. We had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments or motions?
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion, an amendment to ordinance 455 in motion that we adopt it favorably. And the amendment would be that with this honorary naming that the donations to cover that cost, or donations will cover that cost, and that I would work with resident committee members at the guidance of Jared to work with them on an approval of a design and language that would go out here right outside of City Hall.
For a plaque?
Plaque, thank
or-
you. Thank you. Thanks.
If, with that, I will second it.
Thank you.
We've a motion to approve with an amendment from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland.
Sorry. So the wording, won't we want to wait until we see the wording? So we're not voting on passing this. We're voting on taking action to create something amended. Is that what we're voting on, to create an amended
So-
version?
Yeah, so it's an amended motion, but with that amendment that it would be in collaboration with and approved by the local citizen committee. And it's an honorary naming. It's going to be very straightforward. So
Well, I
that's something
thought-
that will go through the citizen process.
Okay, to me, there's a
Committee
distinction
process.
between a plaque and a renaming of a street. So are you saying that we are not going to include in this motion, or in this, we're calling it a ordinance? So in ordinance 455, it will not be the renaming of a street, it'll strictly be a plaque.
My thought is that it's an honorary thing. There are no street signs. It's an honorary renaming, but it's just on the plaque, honoring the relationship.
Okay, well, my comment
Does that
is
make sense?
I can't support something that hasn't been vetted within the public and is not part of it. So,
It's not an actual renaming.
well, that's what the verbiage.
It's a recognition. I'm fine to make it a recognition. To me, it's the same thing. It's indifferent. So what I would say is a recognition of the partnership.
You want to redo the motion, Matt? And
Sure,
and-
sure,
and
sure,
Maybe just say, make sure we address that we're doing a plaque instead of a street that's in the ordinance and
Yeah, you bet. That's great.
And help me before you do that,
Yeah.
'cause I also did not think we were even doing a ceremony renaming of a street. I thought we were doing
Then
a
that's what the
plaque.
mayor said. To me, it's indifferent.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So what it would be is it would be in recognition of the partnership. It would be out here on the sidewalk. It would be a plaque honoring the relationship covered by donations. Jared?
Can I just ask a legal point, Shane? Would we even need to pass the ordinance at this point then if we're not going to do an honorary renaming?
No, if we're
Good
not
point.
going, if we're not going to create that honorary name, why, I guess, what is the plaque going to say? I guess
It's
Just honoring-
celebrating the partnership.
Sister
That's
City
it.
Center.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, I think that
Is
can,
that good?
I think that could be handled by just a voice vote here, because we've previously recognized the sister city relationship between the two cities. And so this is just something that would,
That works for me.
something embedded in the pavement that would recognize that thing that's already occurred. Is that accurate?
That's 100% accurate.
Okay. Well, then.
So we're really, in essence, either tabling this or,
So Shane, what do you think
I-
needs to happen?
Well, I think that you would table this, and then if, I think that you can go ahead and do a voice vote on a plaque honoring the sister city relationship with the Korea City that would be paid for by donations and would be orchestrated by Jared? Is that the other?
Well, I would
aspect?
work with Jared and a citizen committee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't see any expenditure of city funds on that. And I think it's just recognizing in another way something that's already occurred via resolution.
So when you say voice vote, is that something we
Yes.
do?
Yeah, you would just say that I'd move that we table this ordinance 455 and instead agree
Okay.
that we support.
Perfect.
This.
That's perfect. So I will motion then, thank you very much, everybody. I will motion to table ordinance 455 and ask for a voice vote in support of a plaque that recognizes the partnership with our sister city that is supported by donations, working with Jared and a citizen committee to execute it. Yes.
I will second that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a separate motion to this item by Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final comments? I'll call for the vote.
This is a voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Hopefully 6.2 goes better. Okay, item 6.2, consideration of ordinance 456, amending the general plan to include a water use and preservation element. We also discussed this item earlier in the work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 456, amending the general plan to include a water use and preservation element.
I'll make
Oh.
the motion to approve ordinance 456.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final comments? I will call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Item 6.3, consideration of ordinance 457, adopting an exception to controlled access to Big Cottonwood Canyon Road at Mine Shaft Road. We also had the opportunity to discuss this as a council earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 457, adopting an exception to controlled access to Big Cottonwood Canyon Road at Mine Shaft Road.
I motion to approve ordinance 457.
I can't second that, right, Shane? I can. I will second that motion. So we have a motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Mayor Wickers. Do any other final questions or comments? I will call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
No.
Councilmember Highland,
No.
Councilmember Newell,
No.
and I will vote yes. The motion fails 3-2. Ordinance, rather. Okay. Item 6.4, consideration of resolution 2025-75, approving an amendment to a development agreement. We also discussed this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-75, approving an amendment to a development agreement.
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-75.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Item 6.5, consideration of resolution 2025-76, declaring certain property surplus. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-76, declaring certain property surplus.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-76.
I'll second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
I will vote yes. Item 6.6, consideration of resolution 2025-77, approving appointments to the Health in the Heights Advisory Committee. We also discussed this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I would just like to make the comment that I would appreciate when we receive these appointments for various citizen committees, if those, the information contained therein would indicate which district the resident that is coming on, all the residents that are on these citizen committees, so that the council can keep apprised of, which districts are contributing the most to these various citizen committees. And just, does that sound appealing to any of my colleagues here?
I don't have any objection, I'm sure.
I don't either. There's other committees that we do that for, such as the planning committee or planning commission and others.
So with that, I would go ahead and motion to approve resolution 2025-77.
Oh, I'll second that.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final comments? I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Six point seven, consideration of resolution 2025-78, approving an amendment to an interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County for track funding. We also discussed this item earlier. Is there any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-78, approving an amendment to an interlocal agreement with Salt Lake County for track funding.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I missed my comment. I'm going to have to abstain.
Okay. I don't have.
Councilmember Burrell, do you have a reason? You don't have to comment, but I'm.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate your asking that. If I understand phase 3, which is the trail project up to the I-215, I remain opposed to funding that any further. That's with grants or not.
Okay, great. Thank you. I will now call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
No.
And I will vote yes. So that measure passes 4-1. The last item on our agenda for this evening is consideration of resolution 2025-79, awarding a retiring police officer his badge and approving his purchase of a police firearm. And a big thank you from the council to Sergeant Ken Daly as well. We discussed this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-79, awarding a retiring police officer his badge and approving his purchase of a police firearm.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-79.
I'll
I'll
second
second.
that. Sean got that one first.
We have a
No,
motion
give it to him.
motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell, a second from Councilmember Newell. Final comments. Call for the vote. I don't know where I am. Councilmember Highland,
Yes, with sincere gratitude to this officer for his service. Ken Daly, thank you.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Thank you. The last item on our agenda for this evening is item number 7, which is approval of the consent calendar. Consent calendar is the minutes for our city council and planning commission joint work session on December 2nd, 2025. Got to get a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. We're not
Okay.
adjourning. We're just going to punish him. We're not, there's no motion. What are you going to do?
So I have not used this.
Could you hit me, chief?
I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn the city council meeting for today.
I will motion to adjourn this city council meeting with sincere gratitude for your service. And I pride myself on not crying in public, but I am internally. So thank you.
With gratitude, I second that.
All in favor,
I'll
say
third,
aye.
I'll third.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.